earlier today whether the Constitution is a living document or not. So Roberts and Alito and Scalia and Thomas believe that they believe this originalist interpretation of the Constitution. Whatever the founders thought at that time, that
Has to be
respected.
That has to be respected.
That original intent has to be respected, even though this is 250 years later. So this is obviously,
now
and when
they have Kennedy on their side, right?
No, but now
so when Obama says that the Constitution is a living, breathing document,
exactly now
which Jefferson also said. So this
conflict is there. There is a basic point. You see, the Constitution is a living document. It has to address itself to the problems that have now arisen, which the
founding
founders.
fathers could not have foreseen everything that's going on.
Exactly. So the role of a judge, there is an argument about this. Both sides have a point, but basically those people who lived 250 years back, things have changed.
Yeah, there was slavery.
So
People couldn't vote.
So
women couldn't vote.
but you're right. Those social institutions did exist, evil social institutions. Nonetheless, the Constitution says that all men are created equal.
Yeah.
So what
So you can
feminists
still,
and so
interpret
men,
according to the original thesis.
right, and men would include black men and would also include women, is what contemporary scholars and legal theorists have argued. So the original intent argument can also stand on some substantial ground, which is why intelligent people like Scalia and Roberts argue for that. And even the West Virginia decision, Roberts has a very interesting.
I am about to say that West Virginia decision, Roberts has said the Constitution doesn't say this. That is his argument. That conflict of interest, where the judge, who knew the fellow coming before him, has put in $3 million to put him on the bench. So he should have recused himself. I will not touch this case. Not only he heard, he rendered a judgment in his favor. Very apparent. The bias is very apparent. It's not merely impartiality, but it is mischief. I would even go that far. Now, in such a decision, Roberts has said, no, it's fine. This is what exactly, but the argument he has advanced is, maybe, as he rightly said, he is not a dumb fellow, he is not a muff. He has argued the original founding fathers had never thought of this kind of a thing. I do not know, we have not read that judgment.
If people are objective, there is no reason for that man not to be able to be objective.
Exactly.
He is able to remove himself from that situation of the fact that he has been paid for by the fellow who's standing in front of him, on whom he has to render a judgment, and say, okay, I'm able to somehow get outside of the skin and render an impartial, objective
But the
judgment.
current law which is prevalent right all over the world is, you must render justice, not only render justice, must be seen to be rendering justice. It must be seen, but it is not seen here.
Right.
Because you are sitting in judgment of a party who has helped you to come and sit on that chair. So you should say, no, I will not touch this. This is exactly what happened in my case. Because when the recusal thing came, I immediately lapped up that whole thing. That's why I was asking how Roberts had given that kind of dissenting opinion. Now in that case,
what happened?
In Delhi, in my matter.
No. In the West Virginia case, Roberts was not.
No, he was in the minority. He was in the minority. So
along with
the usual suspects.
This black man,
Alito.
Alito.
No, black man is Thomas. Alito and Scalia.
And Roberts. And all the other 5 has. And Breyer or somebody who wrote the judgment. And somebody somewhere said Breyer is the brilliant man. No, Kennedy, I think. They were saying.
Kennedy is the guy who is now
who is leaning this way, that.
Right. He's a swing vote.
But they say that even about Thomas, he hasn't always been. Sometimes he's been
very infrequent.
No, I see, the man who wrote the judgment, he said, I think the point I am making, that it gives the impression that he is biased, although he did not say he was biased, the Virginia Chief Justice, but this man who wrote the judgment for the majority said it gives the impression that he is biased, so we would not they threw that out. So, and it is very right. And this is the principle. I don't know, in the judgment you must have said, not only you are rendering justice, it must be seen to the public, in the eye of the public, that you are rendering. You are
Right.
absolutely impartial and
When the
unbiased.
conflict of interest is so blatant.
66% Catholic.
Huh?
Right, right.
Who?
The composition of the Supreme Court right now is 66% Catholic.
Actually, in that case, now I remember, it was I don't know how many times it went. I think 2 times it was rejected, and this fellow gave a judgment in his favor. I don't know, the third time. This fellow who came and claimed 50 million or something, dollars by way of compensation, this party, the plaintiff, it was thrown out in the first court. It was thrown out for a second time, and then the Supreme Court Chief Justice gave a judgment in his favor. Then it went to Supreme Court of the US. Then this majority judgment. So in that New York Times editor has written, although it was thrown out 2 times, this fellow has given a judgment in his favor, which should have been thrown out by the entire court. But unfortunately, there was a minority judgment, which is shameful. He used the word. I think that's the reason why I have cut that editorial. Then this, I had seen this 141 cases, the Sotomayor has recused herself. Then I said, my goodness, it gives a lot of credit to her.
Yeah, she seems to be an exemplary judge.
Ah.
Excellent. We will continue this discussion.